Hello and welcome back to the Georgia's Live podcast. I'm your host, Travis Smith, and today we have Anna Brazeal and Susan Erwin Prowse on to talk about Artists Against COVID19.com, as well as their projects that they have going on. Before we get there, you can go online to georgiaslive.com to see what shows are coming up, as well as purchase tickets for those shows. Follow us on social media on Facebook, on Instagram at Georgia's Majestic Lounge, and on Twitter at Georgia's Majestic. Let's go ahead and take you straight to the interview with Anna and Susan on the Georgia's Live podcast. I'm here with Susan and with Anna. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to have you guys on to talk about your projects, of course, but also as we're in the middle of this pandemic, we're all kind of quarantined at the time, and I know you guys are doing a lot of works and efforts to kind of help raise some information for artists to kind of help them out in times like this, and kind of talk about what you got stewing on right now.
Well, Anna and I decided whenever all this came down, really started impacting our industry about 2 weeks ago, which was like the 15th of March. We saw this coming at, our industry, and we said, how do we help? That's in our nature to step up and see what can we do. And so what we did was we started Artists Against COVID19, which is an initiative. There's a website, a Facebook page, and a Facebook group where we are just basically disseminating and collecting all of the information to help artists not only navigate how to do shows online and how to promote what they're doing online now, as well as really provide the resources as it relates to industry, federal, and state aid, not just to contractors like most of us are with the 1099 and our the money we rely on from gigs, but also as small business owners. And there's a lot of interesting things that are coming down even as of today on how you can apply for that aid. I don't know, Anna, do you have anything you want to add to that before I jump off into that?
Yeah, no, I think the article that you put out on the Facebook group, we have Artists Against COVID-19 Facebook group, and Susan put out this article that she's just now talking about. It's not just for anybody that's got an LLC or a small business. It also goes down to the gigging musician. A lot of us, just get kind of just paid, as we live, gig to gig, and it applies to that too, which is really exciting. And Susan's got all that great information. Go ahead.
Sure. I mean, Travis, do you want me to go off? Do you want me to dive into the many ways, or kind of keep it high level? I mean, this is changing every day, I would say.
Yeah, it is. This and what we're doing right now, I'm going to have this flipped, and this will be up today or tomorrow. So just so you know. So. Okay.
So we have the best way I can say to stay tuned to the current information, because this changes sometimes hourly. So I would highly recommend artistsagainstcovid19.com. Go to our resources page. The resources page, I literally added 4 new links right before I jumped on this podcast with you. So that came down from the CARES Act that just got passed, the $2 trillion CARES Act. That will help us. That will help the independent artists, that will help businesses. There are many levels of aid from, like I said, federal and state. There's unemployment, there's the CARES Act, and all of this is starting to trickle down into the state level. And some of this is still yet to be, the processes are, number one, bogged down, because unemployment, if anyone has tried to apply for unemployment, you're getting kicked out, so they're really trying to gear up. And they're trying to make sure that they can manage the workload that's coming toward them. So I'm staying tuned to all of that, and I'm providing that information as I learn it, first and foremost on that resources tab on our website. I can jump off into what I learned.
You're doing great. Just keep going.
So
there's for a musician that doesn't know, or haven't accessed this information yet, nobody knows what's going on, because you have one side of it to where we don't know anything about the virus, but then we also don't know about kind of how to handle ourselves, financially and stuff like that.
Well, let me back up before I jump off into the financial aid. I think, what we're seeing is a saturation of shows online, which I think is a beautiful thing. I think that it's got something there for your audience. If you've got a fan base as a band or an artist or a musician, and you can take your show online in some form or fashion, I encourage you to do that, because that keeps people, your fans will love it, and everyone's stuck at home right now. So don't be afraid of that, and reach out to us to help you with some best practices and tutorials. And I'm sure I look up to you, Travis, because you have such a great thumb on the pulse of technology and podcasts and that stuff. So I'm sure you've got a resource there as well. So, do those things, help us. We will help you promote those shows and help you figure out how to navigate and market those. So that's one way. That's a small way to create a virtual tip jar and tastefully let people who already supported you in your live venues to figure out how to support you right now virtually and online. So there are some great ways to do that. But then if I shift over to other ways to find financial assistance, one of the things I think right now, which is really cool, that came out before I get off into the small business loans, there is a link on our page that says, click here to find out how much money you will get from the government, that stimulus check. And I just clicked. And, Cliff and I are two people. We're married, a married music duo. But it doesn't just matter pertain to musicians, just in general. Anyone can go and click this link and you fill out the form, and it says we will most likely get a $2,400 check because of I think it's it depends on how much money you made. Each of you, I think it can't be over 75,000. It might be, I think it's 70.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's divided, so that's each individually. So Cliff is 75 and I'm 75. So, and then if you fit in that criteria and you just fill out the form, and then it tells you what you can expect to receive. So we can expect to receive $2,400, which that was good news. Now, when and how, all of those links are underneath there to how to go through that process. The government right now is saying we're trying to get it to you as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. So that's the good news with that. So that is that one-time check. Now, there's also the unemployment, the Department of Workforce Services. The DWS has a website, and right now they are working with this online process is kicking people out. And what I've been told is to try and get someone online. But don't get discouraged, because we are seeing people get checks immediately after they get through that initial hurdle of getting heard. Then you can get your check and you can start getting, and that relates to it. The biggest message I heard from the president and CEO of the Little Rock Chamber here locally is what he said: apply, apply, apply. When in doubt, apply. Because you don't know exactly what you're going to be eligible for, so please apply. And that relates to unemployment as well as the CARES Act and these other these other SBA loans that actually will have a component that relates to independent contractors. So I can go into that. Do y'all have anything you want to add? Because I'm dominating right now.
Oh, no, you're killing it. No,
Okay, so right now there are 3 ways that SBA, and I say this because I know I'm listening. Your listener base is not just musicians, but venues, right? We've got venues. We've got kind of
music fans of a little bit of our listener base is a little bit of everybody.
Okay,
followers of George's, followers of who might be on, but also just anybody interested in.
Awesome. Well, music lovers and music fans, I encourage you to go to our website as well, because I know a lot of this I'm speaking toward the music and band side, but we have our website with our shows link, and you can go and see and check out who is streaming live. And we also have an Arkansas artist virtual tip jar where the bands can go and add their information, and you as a music lover and supporter and a follower and a fan of those artists can go and check out their links. And if you have some money to give to financially support their virtual tip jar, we would encourage you to find that, and that's on our website. So you can go to artistsagainstcovid19.com and find all of that information. So it's really just a good place to go and stay tuned to all things related to. Another thing that was really cool, Travis, I'd love for you to help us get the word out. Our partners over, is it Silver Eagle? Is that right, Anna?
Yes, GPX.
Yeah, you tell about that.
Yeah, so there is this great print shop that is in Little Rock. They're called Silver Eagle GPX, and a lot of them are musicians themselves. And they wanted to see how they could put together, all these different enterprises to keep their shop open, their customer base growing, and support the bands. And so they developed this really great idea where they create, your own logo for your band, and just right at the bottom it says #supporter against COVID-19, and $10 goes to the printer, $10 goes to the artist, and the fans, get to have this limited edition, special made, t-shirt. So you can find, all of this really amazing information that Susan and I have been gathering, over the past couple of weeks, is really just a great umbrella where you can come, you can get education on the resources that could apply to you, or even educate someone else, because this is a hard business. I mean, I know a lot of the things that we're talking about that Susan is saying, goes for small business. And so like Silver Eagle is a small business, and they have all of these available options for them too. Plus they're doing something really cool and creative. Where Susan and I are coming in, there are a lot of LLCs, like Susan is Big Red Dog Productions. She does Yadaloo, and she's a genius at all those things. And then it trickles down to, just somebody who's like me, who has all the things, but I've kind of put them on the back burner for a while and just went straight gigging. Well, there's still programs that are out there. So, there's a lot of really creative avenues that are going on within the small business, partnering up with venues, small businesses partnering up together, musicians hooking up with all these great, different creative ideas to keep them open and us. And it's a beautiful thing to see. But you can go to, seriously, we cannot stress it enough, artistsagainstcovid19.com. And like I said, there's something for everybody there. Educate yourself, find the resources, listen to a show. You might get turned on to a new artist. If you are an artist, please come and sign up with us, because seriously, we're out there going out and just selecting
every morning.
And we're making it ourselves. So we would really love to hear directly from the artists, like, hey, I've got these 5 shows coming up, put them up on your website. And we're like, right on, and so that way we can really start to reach out. But there's so much more that we've got going on. But so yeah, just go to our website and you can see the t-shirt and everything else that we're doing. So Susan, I'm going to put it back to you, because I'm very interested for the rest of the listeners to listen as to what other applicable programs and options that are out there that trickles all the way down to even little ones like me.
Right. So there are many, like I said, on the resources page. I'm not going to really speak to there's a billboard link. There's a ton of resources there that you can go, and it's going to take some time on all of our parts to go and find these. And so our method is, we want to have the links in one place for everyone, and then you can go do the work from there. So we're saving you time in that regard, but you're still going to have to spend some time applying and going through the processes on the ones that relate. Some of them are specific to certain demographics and certain genders and types of, whether you're an Americana artist, there's loans and grants for you. Some of that's there at the billboard.com link that's on our site. There's tons. The smart, it was Smart Care or something. There's a lot that I went on and applied for last night. Some of these are first come, first serve. So get to work it,
Yeah. Apply.
Yes. The unemployment thing, I've already talked about that. That's the Department of Work Services. Those links are on our website. And like I said, you just have to go apply for that and fill in your information. The SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, which is the CARES Act. And there is today, and I know this will air at another time, but there are tons of webinars that will be linked on our site that where we've got government officials and industry people coming in and saying, this is how you can apply for these. What it is called, the bank. So there are banks that are approved by the government to do a 7A lending program. And it says it's for the small business of companies of 500 employees or less. And also there are nonprofits, the 501c3s are also eligible for this. But this also pertains to independent artists. So you can go and apply. So what they're recommending is go to your bank and do a little research to see if your bank is an eligible lender, and get on the phone with them, or go in if you can. And sometimes there are online resources, and get on the phone with them, and they will help you figure this out and get started applying. This can take up to a month to get the money, so we need to start that process now. And this just happened over the weekend and today, as these banks are starting to get their processes. So get in line, call them, call your bank, and try to figure out, how you can apply as an independent contractor and as a small business. Let's see, I won't go into how much you can get approved for on that, but there is a lot of money there that you can get approved for. There's also what they're calling a quick action loan program, and this is through the state of Arkansas. So the governor and the attorney general approved disaster relief funds related to economic impact, and this is $7 million of total funds. and you can get a loan or a loan guarantee of up to $250,000 for small businesses. But what I'm seeing is that there's also something that can be related to independent contractors. Once again, those links are on our resources page, and this is designed to create a quick credit for companies that need it right now. Again, apply on this one. And the other one that is really interesting, the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. That's a mouthful. This is a loan for small businesses administered through the state SBA office, but this is the Small Business Association government, so SBA.gov. They can go to disasterloan.sba.gov/ELA to find how to apply. It takes 2 to 3 weeks to get through this, but this is a loan that is going to be basically it is a loan where you will need to repay it at some point at a 3.75% interest fixed rate. However, up to $10,000 of that is forgivable. So you can get, and it's kind of like, they're not saying it's a grant, but it's basically up to $10,000 that you can get as it relates to paying employees. If you are a business owner, an LLC, and you've paid yourself out, that up to $10,000 of that can be forgiven. So that's not to be repaid. So that's
Right.
interesting there. That's up to 30-year fixed term to really make sure it's manageable on the repayment plan. And again, this is all brand new, so it's changing, but that is what I'm hearing right now that can help us. So there's 3 ways there, and I'm outlining that on our website so that it's not something you guys have to keep, have to take notes. You can go check that out on our resources page.
Perfect. So we don't have to like, slow down the podcast and take the
No.
note. So that's perfect. It sounds like anybody that's out gigging, that's out, that's playing music for a living needs to go to this website immediately.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
It's overwhelming. I don't know, Travis, if I'm a member of, the Festival and Events Association and all these different resources in the state that are trying to help. And I get an email and I'm like, okay, how does that fit? And what are they saying that I've already heard? And I'm trying to take all of this information that's funneling to my inbox and I'm seeing online and everywhere and through the research I'm doing. And I'm really trying to keep it very well organized on that resources tab so I can keep everyone from their head spinning on all of this.
Yeah.
It's great.
Thank you for doing that. That's super helpful. It's nice to have that. It's scary, throughout the, I get hit up a lot by musicians kind of just asking what, especially with like finances, kind of what do I do with W-9s? And, sometimes a W-9, whenever you play a venue, they're like, well, what do I need a W-9 for? And you kind of give them the brother talk and stuff like that on it. It's so helpful to know all of these things. And
Right.
Especially as they're changing. And you're updating this daily on your website as things change, correct?
Yes. I mean, when I get off this call, I was updating it before we jumped on here, and I've got more to update when we jump off here. And like I said, as I see this change and more links become available, I will keep it out there on that resources tab to make sure people can go there and find what they need, and make sure it's current.
Okay, nice. Well, let's dive into what you guys do when we're not in the middle of a pandemic, if you guys are down with that.
Sure.
So let's start with you, Susan. You guys have Cliff and Susan.
Yes.
Which is you and your husband, correct?
Yes, it's my husband and I have a music duo. We met about 4 years ago. I've been doing music as a career for almost 17 years now. My niche has been piano bars, and then I recorded a couple albums in Nashville, and then I met Cliff 4 years ago. We started our duo and got married a year later. So we've been enjoying an international tour schedule of an interesting niche of piano bars, which we're a duo in these piano bars. But we're also releasing some music this month, actually, of our own original music as a duo. So that's kind of what we have from an artist side. We have Big Red Dog Productions, which is our artist development and music production company. Cliff produces and arranges and writes, and we all write. So we just collected ourselves here locally in Central Arkansas and started working with a lot of artists to help them in the do-it-yourself independent artistry space. And so we do that. And then last year in September, we produced our first inaugural Yodelu Music and Arts Festival, which is a country and Americana genre arts festival on the banks of the Arkansas River in North Little Rock. So all things music. And then COVID-19 happened, and I joined forces with Anna, which Anna was already on our Yodelu team. And I've known her for many years, and we started this. So we're just, trying to stay boots on the ground as much as possible as these things have evolved in the last 2 weeks, but also continue to grow our business and our artistry.
What was that like first year with Yadaloo? It was cool at the AFEA winning a few awards and stuff for
Yeah.
a first year festival. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Well, I can't say enough of the success was due to people like Anna and the community and city effort to rally behind a cool, new, unique experience. And so I will tell you, it's the craziest thing I've ever undertaken. The day of was a crazy ride. Anna was there to watch it. She was on that ride with us. She was our MC for the festival. It was the most rewarding, but the hardest thing I've ever worked on. And to see that the hard work paid off and to win Arkansas's best new festival of the year was such an awesome thing. And I have to say thank you to everyone, from sponsors to artists to vendors to volunteers, the city. It's been a really cool thing to see happen. So it's interesting, we're second year festival in September this year, and I'm watching all of these South by South and Coachella and Stagecoach and Bonnaroo. All of them are starting to move to the fall, and I'm like, oh no, we're stepping on each other. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and we hope that we are up and running by the fall. So we haven't done anything to change our plans. We're just watching it, monitoring it, and the good news is we do have sponsors coming on right now still, so that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, it seems if everything's back and going again, it's going to be a very musical fall for sure. A lot of stuff dropping in that September through November area. So Anna, let's talk a little bit about what you've been up to. I know you're always playing shows, always working. You're working with Drummer Boy Infinity as well now, doing some stuff.
Yes, I am. Yeah, Cliff and I have been working together for about 7 years now. He plays in my band, and I go and I help him co-produce and MC and host, and behind the scenes, anything that needs to happen is in making Drummer Boy Infinity Productions, a success. And we've been doing really, really well. This year really kind of allowed me to really start getting a chance to concentrate on my own music again, because there's been a huge renaissance of music that's been happening in Arkansas recently. And I've been so excited to see everyone flourishing and it just making waves. And then COVID, this is like the upswing. This is where everybody gets busy and we're having tours. And I was in the middle of pre-production for an album, signing management papers, putting out a tour for fall, working with Susan on Yadaloo. We were really just gearing up for that, having all of our very serious, intense meetings and production meetings and marketing strategies and all of that. And so we had to really kind of switch gears and go into COVID, because as soon as South by Southwest canceled, all the rest of us looked at each other and were like, oh man, we just knew the tsunami was going to hit. And literally 2 days later, my entire schedule for the entire year pretty much evaporated. And so, this really makes an impact, especially, this is how you make your living. And especially when you're like about to start releasing new material, it all takes money and marketing, that, and all you guys have been just smashing it and stuff. And it takes a lot of money and sweat and blood and tears. And so really, I guess, I've just always been in production. That's what I was doing in Dallas before I moved back to Arkansas. I worked with quite a few labels down there, learned a lot about the business inside and out. And then I hooked up with somebody like Susan, and then, oh no, watch out. That's where we all really started getting dangerous.
Yeah, there's so many people. I know every state probably has people, but I don't know if they do quite like what we have in Arkansas. We have people that's kind of put in different parts throughout the state that are all working on a bunch of different projects, and it's cool that we all come together and from time to time catch up with one and what's going on.
I have to agree. I mean, I really think that, even though we're a fairly, large state, we're all like kind of sporadic and everywhere, and we're going in and out. A lot of us are on tour, but this is home. I think the really cool thing about it is that we are really community and family here. And when something really goes down in Arkansas, whether that's a tornado, God bless Jonesboro, whether that's COVID, whether that's anything that's, really happening, the hogs, we all really, really come together, and that's a beautiful thing. And this is no different. This is really no different. You guys are doing phenomenal things up there, in Northwest Arkansas. There's just a lot of things that are happening. Susan and I are really needing to start bringing in Hot Springs. El Dorado has got some smashing things happening. Texarkana, all the way up into West Memphis, and just, all over, this state. And, just, it's a good time right now. Kind of getting back to the business thing, I've always told Susan, this is a really great opportunity for an up and coming artist, or any artist for that matter, to really start, practicing, writing new music, getting ready, gearing up, learn about the business, learn what you can apply. If you're not an LLC, maybe you should try looking into that. This would be a great opportunity for you to really refocus on some things when you don't really have any distractions, repurpose yourself, re-goal yourself. So when we come out of this, you're just that much further ahead in the industry.
That was my first week, for my own projects and stuff like that, being home from work at George's, we had moved some shows, and that was the first thing. Is the first few days, it was just kind of not knowing what to do. So I was like, comes back, and I went and I made poster designs and kind of a little bit of time on each little project to get ahead. But you're right, this is the perfect time to be woodshedding, and rather thing, or like you're saying, like a LLC. That's something one of my bands we just set up, and we made sure we paid attention to every step in it ourselves to make sure we knew exactly what we were setting up, so that we know kind of how to do it. And it's easier than people think too. That's the crazier thing. You can find information there.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you said that, Travis, because it can be pretty intimidating. As a lot of artists, we just want to make the music. We just want to hang back. We just want to show up on stage and do our thing. But this is a business, and if you really want to be sure that you protect yourself, if you want to know that you will have a better shot at some things within this industry that's really pretty tough, having a little bit of a business sense is a valuable thing to you, because you really don't want to sign contracts with somebody without you having the inside knowledge of what they're going to be doing for you and what they're not going to be doing for you.
I think for me personally, I was afraid to I would look at it and I'd just be like, oh, I don't understand. But after you read a contract, and then you read it slowly and check out everything in it, what they're talking. It's talking about your performance and stuff. And it builds that business sense, to where I wasn't the type of person to build spreadsheets and stuff like that. And now, every show we're like, this person got paid this person got paid this. I've got W-9s ready to go. Like, it's building it, because once you get it down, it's not something you have to keep studying up on or anything. It's just like having that business sense and knowing how to book a show, send the contract out to W-9,
and that really goes, into the whole point why Susan and I put this together. I mean, we saw all of our friends, you included, Randall, Rachel Ammons, all of our friends, she's got countless friends too, that this was really greatly impacted. We go from gig to gig, some of us are gigging 3, 4, 5 nights a week, and this was like, whoa, what do we do? And so, when she and I got together, we really looked at our community, and we were like, everybody that is affected by this, they all have families, they all have children, there's bills to be paid, everybody's got a studio or something. And so we created this for that professional, career-minded artist. We want to deliver on a platform, really this really healthy, robust menu of Arkansas's finest, because we have big plans to go, not just for our general consumer, which is wonderful, but we want to broadcast this in a much, bigger network. And, that also helps, with, new fan base and new audience listeners, more retention. Because the one thing that I keep trying to be positive on is, after we're done with all of this and we are able to come out, I want to see all of our venues full. This is a great opportunity for you to go, you know what, I never really made the time, or I just rather just sat down and watched The Bachelor again for next week, instead of going and seeing a really badass live band somewhere. And, I really hope that people take what we're doing as far as technology is concerned. Susan's had some really great people like dancing in their living rooms, their kids are dancing, people are cooking. I've been loving it. I've been loving, having all you guys in my living room, because I never get to see y'all. A lot of us are all working on.
We were watching Randall's dinner table the other night.
It's wonderful. It's great. So yeah, these are the people that we really want to help. Because they're the jewels. You guys are all the jewels as far as the music is concerned here in Arkansas, and that's important. And we really need to ensure that when we do emerge out of this, that we're we get to hug and we get to high five. Travis, I can't wait to see you in person.
That'll be fun.
And just have and come out a lot better on the other side. So
it's going to be a lot of things written.
I think so. Well,
thank you guys for coming on here. Susan, send them to the website one more time.
Yeah, artistsagainstcovid19.com. I spoke a lot about the resources page where all the financial information can be found. But music lovers and anyone who wants to check out a live show, go to the shows page. We list them. We update them daily. If you're an artist, reach out to us, sign up with us, and let's get your show.
Sign up. Just go to the sign up page. And if you don't see the little, questionnaire that's there or whatever, the little form, just refresh it. Sometimes Benzuga wants to give us a little headache, but just refresh it, and please sign up and direct me to your schedule, because we really want to fill that up. We've got a lot of other things that Susan and I are going to be doing virtually and taking a very good advantage of the technology. She's got some really cool, exciting things coming up, and we guys want you to be sure to listen and stream in, and so just come to us.
Has this process made you guys step up your tech game a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the same here. Like this whole setup right here, I've never done before, and it took some plugging and sticking stuff around to be able to get it going.
Were you digging in drawers for cords you never thought you had?
I had to drive across town to my rehearsal unit and go grab some $2 items I know radio wouldn't be open.
I'm like, can this camera stream through this cord? I don't know. I'm Googling and YouTubing, and good Lord, I've learned a ton.
It's been fun though.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been fun to be this innovative.
I don't think I'm using anything for what it's supposed to be used for, but it's getting the job done. So
I know, and look at what it's going to change. This really changes the landscape in the music industry. I'm excited to see what people are going to do after all of this is said and done. This is a whole new world, that we're coming into.
We didn't really talk a lot about streaming online and what we're just kind of touching on the technology side, but Cliff and I have put a tutorial on how we're doing our shows, and we were getting a ton of questions about what we were doing, so I created, which is another link off of our resources page, but if they want to find that, they can go to susanerwin.com/streaming, and that takes them to the resources and a lot of the really cool bells and whistles we've figured out and are implementing into our shows to bring in guests and multi-cameras and how to market.
Cool guests, very cool guests, guys that are really got some deep music industry insights. So this is going to be really exciting. Susan's got a really special guest that she's going to be coming on here pretty soon. Tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Bobby Bohr is an author and a artist and a coach, and he's out in Los Angeles. He's going to do a podcast tomorrow, and of course, I'll share this. This podcast is excellent. Make sure that you guys as a partner on our Artists Against COVID page, and make sure everybody funnels over to you guys as well.
Sweet.
Yeah. I was going to say, Travis, if you had any other, resources that you wanted to share, we can all, collaborate. I've got a good friend of mine that's coming in from the Recording Academy. He's really up there in the ranks and stuff, and he's going to give us a really good picture of what's happening in Austin, Texas. And, what the Grammys, Music Care, that's another really great platform for financial assistance and aid. And just, what the Recording Academy is doing for us on Congress, up on the Hill. They're out there championing us. And so it'll be really good to hear what he has to say, too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
You guys keep up the good work. And
sending our love. We'll see you on the other side.
See you guys later.
Love to Jonesboro too, man. Y'all take care.
Yeah, absolutely. That is it for the Georgia's Live podcast. I'm your host, Travis Smith. That was Susan and Anna. I would like to thank them for being on the podcast. These are crazy times that we're in. Hope you guys are holding up okay. Hoping you're washing your hands, keeping clean, and taking care of your families and staying at home. If you guys go online to georgiaslive.com, you can see what shows are coming up, as well as follow us on social media on Instagram at Georgia's Majestic Lounge, on Twitter at Georgia's Majestic, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thank you guys. I'll see you next time on the Georgia's Live podcast.